I have just finished a short Chinese drama called My Love Out of Service, also known as When Regret Becomes Too Late. This just popped up on my Facebook feed in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. yesterday, and I was hooked. I watched the whole thing from beginning to end. I marathon this. This was so cringy and so simpy, but I couldn't stop watching. The premise is there's this husband of this $1 billion girl, Chinese girl, who's going to inherit the company or whatever. The typical rich Chinese girl who looks down on her husband, wants him to be a slave, a house dad, a house pappy. He does all the cooking, all the cleaning, treats her incredibly well. He comes from a lower class. She constantly disrespects him. She's in love with her first love. Now, I'm going to avoid spoilers for the first half of this video. So many people are watching this on Facebook, on Dailymotion. I think it's on officially a service called Drama Box, which is a paid subscription, but everyone's watching it on all sorts of places. It is so angsty, so frustrating. You feel sorry for this guy, right? She's a beautiful girl. This girl called Renee, by the way. All these Chinese actresses, I don't actually know. I watch a lot of K-dramas and J-dramas as well. First time I've seen a kind of Chinese drama in a long time. They speak Mandarin with the English subtitles, but Renee is that ultra bitchy, stuck up, absorbed in her work, obsessed with her former love, a guy called Mike, right? And when Mike enters the pictures, he's so slimy and so smarky. It's coming up to 5 years now in a marriage, and the reveal and the payoff is incredible. She treats her husband, Finn, like complete dirt, like absolute trash. I mean, the main character, Finn Carter, played by an actor called Wang Peng. And I put his Chinese kanji up for you to see as well. Wang Peng. Phenomenal, phenomenal performance. That kind of disgust on his face every time his wife, right, treats him like complete garbage in favor of a guy called Mike, her first love. They grew up together, childhood sweethearts and friends. It's incredible. It's so frustrating and pulling on the heartstrings. You want him to have justice. You want her to respect him and treat him well. Let's get into slight spoilers now. She gives him an allowance. She is like so rich, so incredibly rich. They live the glamorous lifestyle. He's from the gutter, low quality, poor lifestyle. He is brought into her household. She gives him an allowance of like 20,000 and 30,000. But he's only got 2 sets of clothes. Why? Because he constantly spends it on presents to treat her well. He's trying to treat her like the princess that he wants her to be. Tries to have a romance in their relationship, for example. And she absolutely does not acknowledge him, acknowledge the gifts, treats him with contempt, lower than the most stinky garbage on the street. She is infatuated with her first love and her younger sister, who's also a very pretty actress, called Yang King. Here's the kanji for her as well. Unfortunately, I can't find the actual actress for Renee. Let me know in the comments below if you can find Renee's actual actress name as well, because I've looked, but I can't find it. But my goodness, that younger sister is such a simp for her older sister and, you know, the reputation of the family. You go with Mike. Mike's destined for you. You look gorgeous with Mike. And they do this completely in front of the husband. Finn has to stand there getting a ton of abuse for his low class background and upbringing, the way he looks, the way he acts. He's pretty much a slave in the household. He has to kiss her feet. He gets slapped through the series countless of times by the younger sister, by the older sister, by this evil Mike guy who absolutely is taking the piss, because he even took the wife Renee on a private trip to Mauritius. She always tells Finn that she's going to be late for work. It's compounded with work and is always busy, but she's always with Mike in the end when he appears back in the scene after 5 years. And there comes a point where it's a breaking point, and he's like, he's a genius. He's an absolute researching genius, but he put aside his ambitions and his plans and his potential and opportunities to make the marriage work, right? To really treat her like a princess. He treasures the pajamas that she gave him, but actually she didn't give it to him. It's a present from friends, but he thought it was a present, and he absolutely treasured it, stitched it up every single night. They have maids in the house as well. I'm digressing just a little bit. But they get to a point in time where he's had enough. The opportunity is there to go back onto research, maybe to make some kind of computer chip that will lead the generation of China, the technological generation, into the new future, you know, being on top of the world, the pinnacle of the world with technology. It really boosted the Chinese economy, and he'd be heralded as a global hero, especially in Asia, especially in China. And he serves the divorce papers to Renee, but Renee, obsessing with her ex-lover Mike, her first boyfriend, doesn't even realize what she's signing. She signs away her marriage, basically. She signs on the divorce papers when it's coming up to that 5-year period, and there's a twist in the plot that he only agreed to that 5-year period because of Renee's mother, spoilers, put him up to it. She funded his university studies, right? In order for him to pass university, pass his studies, she funded the whole university program for him. And in return, he was there for her daughter, Renee, his wife, to mend her broken heart for that 5-year period. Did absolutely everything he could, absolutely loved her, from the deepest depths of his soul, treasured her, absolutely spoilt her rotten. And she did not acknowledge him a single day, treated him like trash, absolute worthless peon. He was a simp. He was basically a complete simp. She's very pretty with a nice voice, by the way. It's all in Mandarin. I didn't understand much of it, but the subtitles were very, very helpful. And you have to piece together the different clips on the different services as well. But after the divorce, he goes on a 3-year hiatus away from the household, away from the marriage to do the research. He really works his way up that channel because his potential as a genius was sky high. He makes a breakthroughs on that project to get that chip in a place to become the market leader for China, to really resuscitate China's economy and technological advances. She ultimately develops over time, right, from being this heiress who was befuddled with riches and spoilt rotten and in a position of power. She eventually grows to miss him and grows fond of him because he spoilt her rotten, cooked for her, cleaned for her, and she noticed that all of his belongings and his presents were out of the house, and it was kind of like a soulless life without him because he pretty much did everything for her. And then she tries to win him back, obviously, tries to threaten him first through text, through police, through every kind of means. But ultimately, he's on his new pathway. He's finally found a new world away from her, a world to be happy. And it so happens that the lead of that project, the grandfather of his daughter, who's also a senior researcher, falls in love with Finn. And through that kind of arrangement, he gets the confidence to stand up to his ex-wife and tell her, "You've abused me. You've absolutely ruined my life for the last 5 years. It's been a marriage of hell. It's been a one-way love," and he's sick and tired of it. And he's actually got an admirer now who funds him, who's important in his research, in his role. He's made the breakthrough. He becomes the hero of China. And then the groveling, the sick groveling, the jealousy of that Mike fella who came back into Renee's life. Renee ultimately, her infatuation with Mike dwindled down. She started to appreciate what she formerly had with Finn, starts to acknowledge her past mistakes and grows. She has character development in that short space of time in this Chinese drama. She grows fond of Finn, actually falls in love with him. And like the title says, my love out of service. He did it as a service to her, fell in love, genuine love with her, treated her like a princess, treated her like the ideal wife, was a perfect husband. But you don't realize what you got until it's gone. That mantra is the ultimate kind of quote in this C-drama, and it's too late. He got abused, he's upset, he got heartbroken time and time again. He gave everything, his soul, his time, the money that was given to him for her, and she couldn't differentiate the upper class, that spoiled, rich, brat, childlike lifestyle, her infatuation with her first love, who's an absolute douchebag, by the way, an absolute asshat. You gotta hate that kind of guy, right? But to see him get his comeuppance, beg on the floor, throw her in harm's way, throw her sister in harm's way. It's so funny as well that Renee throws her sister under the bus as well when suggested prison for false accusations against Finn at the end. Huge spoilers. She throws her sister away and goes, "You deserve jail. Off you go to jail." And then the heiress, the Queen Xavier, who is the granddaughter, the niece of... Is it granddaughter or niece? That's not the same thing, right? But I've seen it in both subtitles. Of the chairman of the research facility. He says, look, the deal with Mike was completely false because he believed he was in power, position of power, getting the $1 billion deal. He grovels, he begs on the floor. But when he realizes his life is over because his family's going to be bankrupt, he attempts to stab Finn, only for Renee to jump in the way, to defend it, to take it in the back and end up disabled, which is a cruel fate for her, obviously. She was a complete biatch from the start of the series. Angsty, pulled on your heartstrings. You wish that Mike and Renee and her sister got their comeuppance, and it ultimately did. But you feel sorry for her in the end because she repents. She does repent. Maybe it's too late, a little too late, and not genuine because she still feels as though, she can get her way like a spoilt brat. But she really does show her love for Finn, appreciation, regret for everything she did. She does have character growth, but she ends up disabled. Her mum, who supported Finn, passes away from exhaustion because she had to take over the company business for the fact that the daughter, Renee, the wife, was stabbed in the back and disabled. Her sister's now in jail. She's obviously got no dad, so she's got no family left, in a wheelchair. And the final scene where Quinn is pregnant with Finn's really interesting name, by the way, right? Finn, Renee, and Quinn, very posh, almost Irish or Gaelic, right? Very, very interesting. Quinn is obviously pregnant. They have a happy life to look forward to. He's the hero of China. To get that reveal was amazing. Even the loyal lieutenant who Mike tried to bully, was obviously tasked to keep the secret of Finn being that legendary researcher, the hero of China, and Quinn being the heiress who the charity gala was all about. I'm giving this explanation all over the place, but push comes to shove, it's a story of how she's abused him time and time again, and you felt sorry from the very first moment. She treated him like a doormat, was like muchi lover with Mike from the very, very start. He was obviously pushing Finn's buttons and being a disgrace, an absolute man-child, an absolute prima donna diva, and abusing, his Finn's wife right in front of him. The sister was all around getting Renee and Mike together, and it's so cheesy and so cringy and so angsty, so frustrating as well. But to see that payoff made it all worthwhile. So I was up until like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. looking for the various clips to piece together. I'm still missing 1 or 2 episodes, but wow. I love it. And it also makes you appreciate your wife more. If you've got a happy marriage, if you've got a lovely lady in your life, then you treat her like a princess. If she is reciprocal and treats you well as well. It's a compromise, it's a two-way relationship. Don't be treated like a doormat. You get what you deserve in the end. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. My Love Out of Service, also known as When Regret Becomes Too Late. So cheesy. The story is like nonsensical. Suddenly, yep, sister, you deserve jail. Off you go. I can make your family bankrupt. Off you go. Punch, kick, hit the glass. Like some scenes, like when Finn is shoved and he cuts his neck on glass, and then Mike has a stomach ache. So Renee says, "Oh no, he's got a stomach ache. Emergency! I gotta bring him to the hospital." Where Finn's struggling with like bleeding down his neck, and when Finn gets scalded all across the arm, and a tiny bit of the boiling water hits Mike on a finger or something, and then Renee's like, "Oh my god, Mike's so weak against pain. I've got to bring him to the hospital. You got a scalded arm. It doesn't matter. You can take care of yourself. You're always used to it because you're a house cleaner anyway." You got to feel so sorry for Finn, but the fact that he gets his comeuppance, he gets retribution, he gets to repent. She realizes her unfounding love for him and underappreciation of him at the end, and it all comes to nothing. She gets slapped. He gets slapped. Mike gets slapped. The sister gets slapped. Everyone's slapping everyone. It's hilarious. Let me know in the comments below if you found this amazing series, if you watched it to the end, if you enjoyed it as well. And let me know in the comments below what other series you recommend, because I'd really be keen to see other series like this as well. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. This is a channel of substance in abundance. Oh, what a drama. You go, Finn, my boy. Cream of the crop, rise to the top. Good man. I really enjoyed it. Ciao. Have a great day.